In this segment, Stephanie Miller welcomes Noel Casler to the program. Noel is a comedian and a former contestant on Celebrity Apprentice. He takes us behind the scenes of what it's like dealing with Donald Trump without the cameras running. Here's Stephanie.
The other day, I'm imitating Biden not getting off a stage, right? So I say, this guy can't even get off a stage. So I purposely, do my thing. You know the way he walks like this? And I go like this. And the fake news put it up as though I couldn't get off the stage. It's true. You saw that, right?
Trump's entire campaign is projection, and he just accused Joe Biden of pooping the Resolute desk. Not kidding. He literally said he soiled that desk. I mean, that literally. And so I'm like, oh, I can't wait to hear Noel's stories about his full diaper on The Apprentice. Please, Uncle Noel, tell us more.
Right. It's absolute projection. Who would come up with that out of the blue except for somebody who was trying to foist it on somebody else?
Right.
And it was obviously, preceded by him accusing Biden of being on stimulants, of being on cocaine.
On cocaine.
Right?
I was just going to say that. Yeah.
The two things are next to each other in Trump's mind because his incontinence is caused by his decades of speed addiction, and he knows it, and most of the people around him know it. And he tries to get ahead of whatever's gonna stick to him. That's been his philosophy.
I'm sorry.
No pun intended.
Yeah. Your stories make me snort. Okay.
He cheated on Melania first when she was pregnant. Thom Arnold was at the Playboy Mansion with him, and he turned to Thom Arnold and goes, "Look at her, I'm banging her." Or something to that effect. And even Tom was like, "You're a scumbag, dude. You're like, your wife's pregnant right now." I believe he cheated on Melania when she was pregnant with Karen, and then Stormy, I think, was after she had given birth to his son. Yeah. But, it's just abhorrent behavior by any measure.
Someone just said I don't know if you heard Roseanne talking with the latest Mar-a-Lago thing, and someone's like, "I never thought that the entire country would owe Thom Arnold an apology." And Thom Arnold says you're a douchebag. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I totally forgot about that. Like, he was having an ongoing affair with her. The Stormy Daniels is just like a one-off, right?
Right. Yeah, and she was in love with him. Yeah. She admits it. She gave an interview. She was like, she fell for him, which is, I'm not judging her, but man, talk about
I am.
Your off. Yeah.
But I mean, no, it just, we were saying, it just seems so obvious. It would seem like even to people in his, or even Republicans, that nobody acts this desperate to stop a trial from happening if they're innocent. If it is what he says, that it's a Biden-directed witch hunt, blah, 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 right?
I agree. And I think this trial is going to put some dents in that armor. His base has so far been kind of rejecting everything, and I don't think it's going to be so easy in this case because it's going to take place in New York. A lot of his support in New York are guys who are going to kind of know he's full of it when it comes down to this one.
Right.
So, and I don't think he's going to comport himself well.
Right.
There's certain places where you have to behave like an adult. Court is pretty much at the top of that list.
Yeah.
And he won't do that.
Yeah. Even for him, this is, was this yesterday, the statement from the bassinet of the 45th? I'm not going to read the whole thing, Noel. I wouldn't do that to you, but. At what point are the actions of a sitting president using lawfare and weaponization against his opponent for purposes of election interference considered illegal? He's a criminal. Oh my God, it's all projection. He's a horrible president. He was the worst president in the history of our country. All of these cases you're reading about are crooked Joe Biden's cases because he can't put two sentences together. He can't do anything, so they weaponize government and take me to court on bull. So we're going to win. We're going to win big. We're going to go through these horrible Biden trials. And the end of the day, November 5th, everyone's coming out to vote for Trump. Thank you very much. Okay. And then it goes on. I don't know. Then it goes on for like several more pages. So even for him, is panicked, isn't he?
Absolutely. He's clearly panicked. And in that statement you read, there's all that projection. He can't put two sentences together. He's reading off a teleprompter. All these things he accuses him Biden of that he's guilty of. I was with Biden a couple weeks ago and the two other former presidents at Radio City. Biden is on his game. Yeah, he's older. He's, a grandfather type, but he's there in the room and present. Trump hasn't been present with other human beings in decades. He lives in his own fear, in his own mind, and it's all about his aggrievement.
Yeah.
And his act is wearing thin.
Yeah. I religiously read Noel's notes. I don't know if you know that.
Yes.
Oh, I did not. Thank you.
Yeah. Fantastic. But you were talking about, because nobody knows this whole scene like you do. You wrote, what right-wing billionaires gathered this week in Palm Beach to raise money to pay Trump's legal bills and fund his campaign. Special guests of quote-unquote honor included the architects of the family separation policy, a program which the drug-addled septuagenarian promised to bring back in his second term. The Mar-a-Lago ballroom and John Paulson's mansion were filled with a who's who of right-wing sexual predators and tax cheats, men who'd made it their business to try and dismantle labor unions and social safety nets, not just merely greedy businessmen who want to get out of paying their fair share in taxes. These are extremists looking to reshape our republic to suit their twisted desires. Mm-hmm. It is amazing how many people are just have given up their soul and, will usher in fascism here for to not pay their fair share of taxes, right?
Absolutely. And it goes beyond even the taxes. They want this punitive agenda against women, against minorities, against workers. This isn't even like some guy up in Nantucket who has a hedge fund who, wants a lower bracket so he can buy another Ferrari. These are people who are trying to reshape our democracy for their benefit. And Trump is so immoral and desperate that, he's like, bring it on. To cheer the family separation policy, that was one of the low marks in United States history. That's something we're never going to escape. That's a black mark on our soul that happened in our time.
Yeah.
To go back would be abhorrent.
I keep saying it's beginning to feel a lot like Hitler. And, that's what somebody pointed out is all the businessmen were fine with Hitler, and I think it's just, this is why it just irritates the bejesus out of me, because there's so much at stake for so many of us, women, people of color, gay people, on and on and on, that just the people that are just like, oh, it'll be fine either way, both sides do it, lesser of two evils, whichever. It's like, no, a lot of us will not be fine, right? Rich white guys will be fine.
Very well said, Stephanie. That's exactly it. And I've been sort of studying the World War II era unofficially for the last few months, looking for the parallels, and they're everywhere.
Yeah.
And everybody suffered. The thing is, it's not just the people who were targeted that obviously suffered the most from Hitler and from Stalin and stuff. A lot of everyday Germans suffered too. It's not a picnic when you get taken over by a fascist. People forget that. The German army wasn't the Gestapo and the Nazi army. That was these other freaks that made up uniforms and their little crosses and were like, we're going to march and salute this little weirdo who's going to bring us to greatness. And it destroyed Germany.
Yeah.
They're still digging out from what happened.
Yeah.
So we cannot go backwards.
Yeah. And also, by the way, I keep, quoting Judge Luttig saying, we just seem, all our institutions seem frozen. We just don't know what to do with him or how to stop him. He was, I was echoing what was happening in 1930s Germany. But, you also ended your piece. You said A.G. Garland dragged his feet for years before investigating Trump, seemingly hoping he would just go away rather than hold him accountable. Time is not on our side, but there's still enough of it to try to stop Trump and figure out what the plan is for the GOP. You say, as my old boss, Stephen Stills, used to sing, there's something happening here. We'd all do well to figure it out now. Vote blue.